Hi friends, this is Chrissy Nicole Plays, and today's video is going to be about tips and things that I wish I knew earlier when I started my playthrough of Animal Crossing New Horizons. So for a little bit of backstory, I played Animal Crossing New Leaf as my first Animal Crossing game that I've ever played, but it's been a couple of years since I played New Leaf, so some of these things I may have known back then, but completely forgot about when I started my playthrough of New Horizons and figured out along the way or was told by friends about these things. So I wanted to share them with you in case you, like me, had taken a break between games or are brand new to Animal Crossing in general. So here we go. The first thing I want to talk about is a couple of things to help with catching bugs. So number one is just sneaking up on bugs. So to do this, all you have to do is hold your net in your hand, hold A on your controller while you are walking forward, and you will start to sneak up on bugs. And this is ideal for catching bugs that hang out on tree stumps or are on flowers, or those creepy crawly little nasties that come out after 7 o'clock in the form of scorpions and tarantulas. Sneaking up on bugs will really help increase your bug catching rate. The next bug catching thing I want to talk about is the best way to catch wasps. So I've gotten stung by wasps more times than I can count, and I have finally figured out a way that is relatively foolproof to be able to catch them. So when you go to shake a tree, make sure you are holding your net. Also know that wasps will only spawn out of trees that are either hardwood or cedar. They will not fall out of fruit trees. So that's important too. So while you're going to shake a tree, hold a net in your hand and then shake the tree while facing it head on. Now, when the wasp nest drops, you will automatically turn towards the dropped wasp nest and you will have a reaction to that. As soon as you're able to, quickly hit the A button and you will catch that wasp. Now, if you do happen to find yourself without a net and you shook a tree and a wasp nest drops, run to the nearest house with lights on, an open shop, a museum, or resident services, and open the door. And when you get inside, you are safe. So that's another good tip or trick if you don't want to get stung by wasps. So tip number 2, the glowing hole that shows up on your island every day. If you dig into this hole, you will find a bag filled with 1,000 bells, which is great. You can simply replant that bag, and in 3 days' time, a money tree will grow. If you planted 1,000 bells, you will get 3 bags that'll grow on that tree of 1,000 bells each. Now, the really cool thing that you can do with this instead is instead of burying that 1,000 bell bag, you can bury 10,000 bells into the hole if you have the bells to do so. And instead of getting 1,000 bell bags each, you will get 3 bags with 10,000 bells each in them, which is great. So bury 10,000 bells, get 30,000 bells back, so you'll net 20,000 bells. Again, these money trees take 3 days to grow, but it's a pretty good consistent form of making money for you. Next trick, hitting rocks for maximum resources. So when you hit a rock, if you don't have anything blocking you behind you, preventing you from backing up, you will probably get between 2 and 7 drops from the rock, depending on how accurate you are with moving yourself back up to the rock itself. Now, if you prevent yourself from moving instead though, you can get up to 8 drops from that, and you shouldn't have to worry about accidentally digging a hole instead of hitting the rock. So to do this, all you need to do is dig 2 to 3 holes, 2 spaces behind the rock. I typically recommend doing 3 holes, or if your rock is close to a tree, dig 2 holes right next to the tree and then position yourself between the tree and the rock, and just hit the rock repeatedly after that, and you will get 8 drops. This is the maximum amount of resources that you can get from a rock, which is awesome. So what's cool about this is if you're low on resources, this is a great way to get more of those, and also you'll have a money rock on your island each day, which hitting that 8 times in a row will drop an 8,000 bell bag as your 8th drop. So you'll get some extra bells out of that too. So another quick and easy way to get some extra money. Tip number 4 is something super simple, and I can't believe it took me a couple of days into playing to figure it out, but you don't have to just walk. While playing Animal Crossing, you can actually run. So while moving, just hold down B to run across your island. Now I will caution you, if you have flowers out that are not in a garden that is fenced off, if you run through them, you will eventually strip them of their petals. So be careful of that, especially if you are working on breeding them for hybrids. But running will make you move across your island a lot quicker. Tip number 5 is another one that I could not believe I didn't realize this sooner. I found this out probably about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, after playing Animal Crossing New Horizons for over a month. But you can fill in holes without using your shovel. If you press Y, you can kick dirt in the hole instead of using your shovel, which will then decrease the amount of damage done to your shovel, decreasing the amount of times it'll break for you. Now I do warn you, be careful around flowers if you're doing this, because you may accidentally pluck the flower petals instead of filling in the hole, which I have done way too many times. So tip number 6 is just 2 tips about ways to speed up general things in Animal Crossing New Horizons that tend to take a little bit of time. time. So one of them is crafting. We learned very quick that crafting is an essential part of this game, and it does take a little time. The animation's a little bit slow. If you're doing a bunch of crafting all at once and you want to speed it up a little bit, tap A twice while you're crafting and that animation will speed up. So also if you're stuck in a text loop, you can speed up the text because the text does come across pretty slow if you're in a repetitive loop, especially with like Mabel in the shops or an island. If an islander comes at you and is telling you a long story, the text can come up on your screen pretty slowly. To speed up text while talking, just press the B button instead of A to move forward. Tip number 7, shaking trees that are hardwood or cedar trees on your island every day can get you bells, up to 2 furniture items a day, and 5 wasps. So make sure to make shaking trees part of your daily task. And you can also do this on mystery islands. And if you're shaking either hardwood or cedar trees, you can get up to 1 furniture item on each island. Again, this is only on hardwood and cedar trees, so if you're on Bamboo Island, this will not work. Or if you're on your sister fruit island, this will not work either. So be aware of that. Tip number 8 is how to arrange your inventory. So I like my inventory set up a very specific way. I like having all of my tools up on the top row, and then I keep a couple of resources in very specific places so I know exactly what I have at a glance. So to move things around in your inventory if they get out of order, you can just press and hold A while hovering over that item you want to move, and then move it to the new spot while still holding A, release it to drop in the spot, and the item that was there, if there was one, will then switch spots with it. Another note about inventory, you can also stack resources like clay, iron ore, and wood. So for instance, in my inventory right now, I have this small 5-piece clay that I got from a balloon drop, and I have this other stack of clay that we got from just hitting rocks on our island. So by pressing and holding A, I can move this pile of 5 clay to the other pile that was already there and combine those together. For most resources, a 30 item stack limit, so be aware of that. If you're going over 30, it will create a second stack for you, but it will, at least if you have 30 items or less of the same resource, it will let you combine those and take up a little bit less inventory space. So speaking of all of that, there are a few things that I keep in my inventory at almost all times. Obviously, some of those are the various tools that you need around your island, like your fishing rod, your net, your axes, things like that. But I also carry hardwood, softwood, and regular wood. I carry iron ore and stone at all times too while I'm on my island. So that way if I break one of those tools, I already have the resources available in my inventory to make those again. I've also started carrying a DIY bench with me, so that way if I need to craft those new tools, I can go ahead and do that as soon as one breaks instead of having to go back to my house or back to a designated crafting location on my island. I can just do it wherever I am, which is super nice and saves a lot of time. So with these items that are usually in my inventory, if I'm going on an island tour, I will usually go ahead and put those away in the storage in my house to clear up as much inventory slots as possible while I'm going to those island tours. So tip number 9 is different ways to make some extra bells, and this has really helped me to pay off some of my home loans to Tom Nook, so hopefully it'll help you too. Part 1 of this tip is to wait until CJ or Flick comes to your island to sell your fish and bugs. So CJ and Flick pay a premium for your fish and bugs, so really you just make some extra bells by simply being patient and waiting. So until CJ and Flick come, usually I just put fish and bugs into my storage in my house, because especially now that I have a basement, I have a lot of storage space, which is great. But if your house is not fully renovated and upgraded, you can simply place them throughout your island in their little cages and cases. So part 2 of this tip is that if you can, go ahead and trade with friends as soon as you can to get fruit that are non-native to your island. So when I started my game, my native fruit was apples, and one of the first priorities that I had was trading those apples with some of my friends to get fruit that was not already growing on my island, because fruit that doesn't grow on your island sells for much higher amounts of bells at Nook's Cranny than fruit that does grow on your island natively. So the fruit that is native to your island will get you 100 bells each, while the fruit that is non-native to your island, that grows on the hardwood trees specifically, will get you 500 bells each. So that's quite a bit of difference and will really help you out. My orchard is probably my biggest source of regular income on my island. Every 3 days, your fruit will grow back, and then you can harvest it again and resell at Nook's Cranny, which is great. So it's a pretty consistent form of income for you. So my last tip ties in with fruit. So as you probably already know from in-game dialogue, eating fruit will give you extra strength, and that can be super helpful when you're redesigning your island if you need to move trees around and you don't want to just chop them down, you want to move them somewhere else, or if you need to break a rock because it's just not in a good place on your island. Now, a word of warning, if you do break a rock and you haven't hit the rock for its resources for the day, you will only get 1 resource out of that rock, and the rest of them do disappear. So be very, very careful with that. With that being said, if you find that you've eaten too much fruit and you need to hit a rock for resources, this can be fixed. All you need to do if you already have a toilet as part of your furniture on your island is go take a sit on that toilet for a minute, and you'll see that your fruit counter slowly goes down. And after a few seconds, well, that takes care of that. Alright friends, those are 10 things that I wish that I knew earlier when I started my playthrough of Animal Crossing New Horizons. Is there anything that I missed? If so, make sure to add it to the comments below, so that way if I don't already know it, I can learn it and others can too. If you're new to our channel, please do make sure to check out our Animal Crossings playlist. We have a whole playlist of our playthrough so far up on our channel, and it's been a lot of fun to make, so be sure to check that out. If you enjoyed this video, please do make sure to hit the like button, and if you're new to our channel again, please do subscribe and hit the bell to receive notifications when we upload our next video. We hope that you will join us again soon, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks, have a good day. Bye.